recording. Hello, hello,
Yeah,
hello.
by the
Welcome
way,
to another.
sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Raphael. It's let me do our little intro. We got the recording
Yeah,
going. Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Okay, here we are. It is July 26th, and this is the After Town Hall. And you are joined with the lovely people from the DAOs Love Cardano Challenge Fun 10. Hey, Harsha, how's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good. I'm really excited to listen to everyone's proposals today. Yeah.
Yep, we've got a few proposals. Let me give you a little bit of a breakdown of what you can expect. We've got at least 3, we may have 4 proposals to go over today. Here's the format. We'll get 1 minute to silently read the proposal. Then we'll get 5 minutes of presentation and then 5 minutes of questions and answers. And then we'll start up with the next one. You can I've shared a shared document where you can see where the idea scale links. And please put your proposal down in there. Even if we don't get to you today, we will get to you the next time. Okay, without further ado, let's put in this this proposal from Raphael, who's here today. Thanks for being here. Let's all look at the proposal. And I'll set the timer for 1 minute, starting now.
Hey, Newman, would you like to share the screen as well?
Yeah, let's do that. Yep, yep. Okay. That is about a minute to scan through.
I've written too much. Sorry, guys.
That's okay, but that is something to be mindful of because there's so many proposals. What I'd love to look at is the milestones, but we'll let you talk about it. I'm just sort of vamping.
The milestones are there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Above.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start up your 5 minutes. Is everyone ready?
Okay. Can I share? I have like a small PowerPoint presentation. Can I share the screen just to make it easier?
Yeah. Let's see if you've got the ability to do it. If you do,
Okay, I'll try. No, it's disabled.
yeah.
My host.
If you've got a link that I can send or that I can
Yeah, let me just get it and put it. Let me just change this and send it to you.
And meanwhile, everyone can continue to read the proposal and come up with great questions. You can drop it here in the chat.
Okay.
And if you have PowerPoint or any materials, just go ahead and send them over. We can make a note to okay, here we go. I'm sharing the screen.
I didn't even put a title. Just created it today. So yeah.
That's all right.
Okay, so you ready to go? Should I tell you whenever we need to pass it on or to pass the next slide?
Yes, yeah, just go ahead and do that, and I'll set your 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, so basically, this is my proposal, Cardano School, that is the creation of a Cardano community DAO for creating educational content. Next slide, please. So there are two big problems we are trying to solve. First is that learning about blockchain, cryptocurrency, and Cardano is hard to understand for especially the first time and if you are not technical. And this lack of knowledge is a barrier to adoption. So naturally, we need to educate people for them to start to use blockchain, to understand blockchain, how to use it, but also to understand what are the benefits and what it can give them, what are the benefits for them. And the other problem here, and most of the people, at least for me and other people I know, we learn a lot and we get into blockchain thanks to content creators that play a crucial role. But you know, they have very limited incentives to do so. It's mostly a labor of passion. They are not paid enough to do so, and most of them, especially in Cardano, have other jobs, other projects to be able to sustain themselves, so they cannot create as much content and as much quality content as they would like. Next slide, please. Yeah, good. So yeah, basically the solution is to create a DAO that will support the content creation process. Basically a DAO that is run by the community, that has direct voice on the content created, but on everything related to the DAO structure, everything. And basically this DAO can be used to create, to have strategies for educational content for the current community, but also strategies for marketing and for reaching a wider audience. And with this DAO, content creators will be supported to create content, the content that the community wants because they created the proposals. Next slide, please. So yeah, what is the impact this proposal should create? First, it gives voice to the community. Instead of content creators trying to find out what people want to watch, people can actually ask for what they want to watch. For example, you're in your learning journey, you have a question, or you want to learn about the strategy to make yield or something, you can just create a proposal and get your content created. But more than that, we have been through this journey. We know what was hard for us, and we can also try to create content that would help other people to onboard more easily into Cardano and into blockchain. And that's part of the strategy part we talked about. Then there are rewards for content creators that will attract more content creators to come here. They will have another source of income to be able to dedicate themselves to here, to this project. It's also a great use case for projects in Cardano. You know, projects can join, can have a characteristic of making special proposals that are sponsored proposals where they can share more about their project, update the community, have tutorials on how to use the project and onboard everything, and that will reach the wider Cardano community through this channel. And for the DAO, basically you get your treasury funded, you also get some funds to pay content creators, and you can even have some funds for rewards for voters, which I think would be interesting. Then it creates awareness and promotes Cardano on the wider ecosystem. And of course, it could also play a super important role in governance because we are having the governance of Cardano now with the Voltaire era. And I think we need a place to debate, for people to discuss different ideas, and for the wider Cardano community to make their own opinion. And I think a channel like this, owned by a DAO, owned by the community, would be a great place for that, an impartial place for that, where the reps could come, for example, to share their ideas and opinions. Next slide, please.
Okay, got just a little bit
Okay.
time left.
Yeah, so basically, I think one of the advantages is the community is evolved. They have ownership. They are deciding the content, so they can help us push this further. The other thing is content creators, you know, have this support to create content more regularly. But more than that, if we have several content creators participating, we'll aggregate their audiences into this DAO. And basically, more than just getting rewards, content creators can also use it as a way to promote themselves and for content creators to help each other grow. And finally, with this, we can have a broader strategy focused on attracting new people and not just people inside the Cardano community, which would then benefit content creators as well and the adoption of Cardano. And that's it. Thank you very much. Next slide. And here.
Perfect. Yeah, you're right on time. You're right on time. Okay.
Yeah, it's hard. 5 minutes is hard. It feels like I'm running.
Well, you did a great job of it. I'm going to let people get ready for questions. There you are, yield farming. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I need to work down on that page, but if you have the videos, you have plenty of, if you click on videos, you have plenty of videos. Most of them are about Cardano. So, yeah.
And these are sort of labor of love, content creation, onboarding, getting the word out there. Is that right?
Yeah. Only labor of love, nothing else.
Yeah, that's incredible. Wow. Which one's your oldest? I always look at this. Does anyone have questions? We're gonna start up the time now for 5 minutes, and we'll go through.
I have a quick question. I'm just curious, what tools do you plan to use just for the proposals and treasury management and all of that?
Oh, I'm looking at also like several tools inside Cardano, like that already exist, like Agora, Clarity DAO, and other stuff like that. So I'm planning to talk to these tools and see what we could build. A very, as you have in the proposal, should be a simple model initially, just to test, just to have the basics running, and then test other things. And hopefully, like right now for the beginning, it will be on-chain voting for the proposals, but probably most of the part off-chain on Discord and stuff like that. In the future, I would like to make everything as much as we can on-chain and to add more complexity. Ideally, it would be like a project catalyst, but instead of funding ideas, it would fund the content we would like to see and the kind of marketing, education we would like to see on Cardano.
Makes sense. So the people who want content to be posted, so they make a proposal, and then if the proposal passes, then one of the content creators like comes and makes that specific video happen. Is that the plan?
Yeah, the plan is to have even more than that. I've thought a little bit about that, so it will be more complex, but it would be like, yeah, people can come and can create the proposal. Content creators can apply to the proposal, and you can choose the content creator, and you can choose if the proposal should be approved or not. Okay, there should also be like a voted publication schedule for regular content, so you have limited slots for the content that can be created at each time. So basically, the one with more votes is the one that's going to be created. And you can also have content creators just suggesting their own content. Like, I would like to create these. Would you guys be up for it or not?
Sounds good.
I think that there's got to be some way, and I think this proposal addresses that as you're explaining it, of getting from the community that decentralized, like, it's not one person thinking up of things and then distributing it, broadcasting it, but it's this whole community co-creating, or at least proposing like what they want to fund or willing to build, and then some way of saying these are the projects that we're going to build, or these are the slots that we're going to fill. Is that sort of the thing? And that's a perfect DAO instance. That's a perfect DAO, I think.
Yeah, it would be that. It would be initially set up the whole voting structure for people to be able to vote. Things like the publication schedule where we publish everything would be voted by the community. And then we would have regular voting, and the DAO framework should accommodate that. So we kind of need almost like two different DAO frameworks to be built here. One is the video content one that should be easy, should just want a majority, and should ensure that we get regular content out. And then there is the infrastructure one where we need to be more careful, have majorities, and that can decide everything. For example, this DAO starts right now, it's focused on video content, and we'll put it in several platforms. But in the future, it's a DAO. If the DAO decides wants to do news articles, books, whatever, we can do that. And then there needs to be that aspect where everything can be changed. Basically, that is this, I call it like the structural side of the DAO.
And you're asking for 200,000, I think.
Yes.
And that seems reasonable. This is a big project, relatively big project.
Yes.
Do we know what the percentage of the fund is? I think it's around 5, maybe.
The percentage in terms of the old challenge, or what do you mean?
Of the whole challenge. It's just one of the metrics that the Lido looks at, and I look at. I can't speak for everyone, but it doesn't seem.
So it's less than 5%.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. Okay. Any final questions or any last comments, Raf?
Yeah. So kind of, I would like to know about the treasury for this project. Like, how will this DAO be sustainable on itself in the long run?
Okay. Well, the treasury, that's a great question, and that's very important. First of all, for minting and for coming into the DAO, and also assuring that you have some ADA and you have some stake in the game, you have a voting pass that you mint to come in and have the voting rights, create proposals, do everything, and be inside the community. That will all go to the treasury and goes to projects we want and to fund creators and everything. Besides that, we have the sponsored proposals that will be used by companies to do content on a certain company. Those sponsored proposals will also, have some tokens, not necessarily ADA, but could have tokens from the project. But even if it's tokens for the project, they need to be approved by the DAO. But if approved, that will go to the treasury as well. And then all the revenue, if the channel grows, all the revenue we would have from YouTube or Library or Odyssey would also go to the DAO treasury to keep on funding content creation.
Excellent. Great question. Let's see. Let's go on to the next one. Let's see here. We've got.
Thank you, guys.
You are well. Thank you so much, and let's be in touch. We've got a long way until voting happens or voting closes. So let's keep the conversation going.
Yeah.
Okay, this one is near and dear to my heart. Isuzu meets Cardano, driving financial inclusion, transparency, and accountability in Nigeria's Isuzu groups. I am a co-proposer and a member of the team on this one with Ubio and Ona. Here is the proposal. And I will, once we get it started up, we'll have about a minute to read it over. All right. Quiet reading time. Boy, a minute is just not long enough. It's just, but you can see what is there. Okay. Ubio, Ona, who wants to present?
Yeah, let Ona present, and I'm gonna talk. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay then. Yeah, hello everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, good. Okay, my name is Ona Ohimo, and new to Catalyst, to Cardano. I'm less than a month, courtesy of Ubio. We met at 1694, and he came up with the idea, and I got introduced to the team. So basically, our proposal is about Isuzu. Isuzu are age-long economic groups in Africa and in many parts of the world. They are basically a rotating savings and loan scheme that is very popular. They've been on for centuries, and we've observed some challenges or issues with them, primarily lack of transparency, lack of accountability, predatory practices, and even, lack of growth. So that's why we believe Cardano DAOs can be a sustainable solution to some of the issues they face. So that's how we came up with the proposal. Isusu meets Cardano, driving financial inclusion, transparency, accountability in Isusu group. So the proposal will be focused on Nigeria. We hope to interface with Isusu groups in Nigeria and then see how we can, provide, blockchain solutions to some of the issues they face. So the proposal is basically divided into two parts. The first is to interface with the Isusu groups, introduce blockchain to them, open wallets for them, help them interact with the blockchain. And then from there, we'll now discuss how blockchain can, meet some of their needs and challenges. And then after that, we'll interface with the developer community within Cardano with the hope of, coming up with a glossary and also trying to, develop tools that will help them to interact with, the blockchain to solve the challenges they face. The amount being asked, or the amount we are seeking for the project, is just over 117,000 ADA. And hopefully the project should take about 7 months, divided into 4 milestones. And we have 4 members in the team, myself as the lead proposer, and then Newman, Ubio, and Daniel, just 4 of us. And we expect over the 7-month period, we should be able to onboard a number of Isusu groups to Cardano, have a number of people operate wallets, and then apart from that, interface with the developer community and come up with a glossary and possibly some tools that will help them, navigate through the blockchain. The breakdown of the budget is there in the proposal, and I believe the team has the capability, based on our understanding of the environment, to achieve the goals of the proposal. I would like to stop there. I don't know if there are any questions or areas you want to clarify.
Thank you, Ona. That's a really great on-the-fly presentation. Ubio, I know what your favorite part of the project is. I want to put down what mine is, and that is this sort of research around this incredible rotational lending financial instrument. That has been going on since before there were banks, and it's just I think it's really ready for, blockchain inclusion. It has a tremendous upside. What do you think? What do you think?
Yeah, so for me, it's that whole transition from research to tool, and the fact that, so yeah, that's where I'm really focused on this particular project. And also the fact that I see this particular project as forming a basis for other larger communities, NGOs, and tech developers to use as a basis to be able to access these communities, right? So I see that by the time we're able to come up with the research materials and the glossary, a lot of we must have created a pathway for other blockchain communities to be able to access this particular community, because there's just so much how do I call it, for lack of what I'll just call it, so much mystery around their around how they operate, a lot of questions, a lot of who gets first, how do they determine, so there's just a whole lot of questions. So I feel like if we are able to demystify all of this and put it in blockchain terminologies, and we form that whole glossary and a pathway, and let people understand the psychology and the real, like what's really going on, we must have created a DAO pathway that not only Cardano will be using, but a whole lot of other blockchain communities. This is why I'm quite interested in the aspect of research and tooling of this particular project.
Yep, I agree. Thank you, Ubio. Anyone else? We've got a few minutes to answer questions.
I have a small question.
Yep.
So I forgot this person's name, but they were speaking about how it is hard to onboard some of the African communities onto Cardano just because of the technical barriers. How do you guys plan to like get past these barriers?
You mean onboarding them to Cardano, to the blockchain?
No, blockchain
Yeah.
generally, there is that hard. I agree with Hasher. I understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
Well, firstly, the first thing is to try and understand their needs, onboard them to Cardano, and then from there, when we fully understand that's a research aspect, then we can interface with the community and see what is possible. That's why the glossary has to come first, and then other tools will follow. We are not bugged. We are not bugged with the coding and all that. We understand them, and then we'll meet with the Cardano, the developer community within Cardano, and then see what is possible.
Yeah, so Hasha, let's put it well. We can say we are not too bothered about answering the question right now because we can come up with a lot of theories on why this is. So for us, we want to go in and discover the why. We don't want to stay outside and say it is because of this. So we want to go in and discover the why. And when we get the why, we now create a pathway and that we can now tell other people this is why and this is how to go about it. So that's just this project in a whole. We want to go in, sit with them, laugh with them, interact with them, play with them. But what we are doing is researching the why and then documenting the why into a glossary tool and into a documentation that other people can as well use. So that's just it.
And
Perfect. Yeah.
Yep. And one thing is that we interact with 4 live workshops. These workshops, which Ubio is experienced with building, Ubio and Ona met at a workshop that Ubio produced. I feel like that's a key feature here to really discover and listen to and understand these Isuzu groups, and then talk to, in our last 2 workshops, speaking with the Cardano developers to sort of understand their how, will it match with Cardano in the smart contract system? So it's a key feature of this proposal, which really caught my attention, these workshops. Any other questions? Roberto, Raf?
What would be like for you the ideal impact you'd like to have? Like after this project, what would satisfy you? What were the results? Everything, like the vision.
Yeah.
Well, for me, just like Ubio said, creating a DAO pathway into these groups. That will be the most important aspect for me, creating a pathway into these Isuzu groups, because they are ubiquitous, they are all over Africa, many other parts of the world. So if Cardano is able to build a bridge into them, that would be wonderful.
Excellent. With that,
question.
Oh yeah, one more, Roberto. Okay.
Any plans for sustainability and scalability? How could you guys grow and sustain the project long term?
Well, if we're able to reach 1, we can reach 1,000.
I think that's a very tricky question.
I will meet their needs. Yeah.
I think that's a very tricky question. Maybe I would say maybe, like, I don't know if this is the right thing to say, but when it came to my mind was like, maybe not every project needs to be sustainable. Sometimes we just want to solve the problem and just let it be and see what comes out of it. So this is pure definition of experimentation, right? We are not assuming anything. We are not assuming that we have a lot of answers spelled out. We just want to experiment and see what comes out of it. So this is a pure experimentation, and right now we can't answer that question, to be frank.
Fantastic. What do you think?
Yeah. Congratulations.
These guys, this is why I love these guys. I mean, absolutely, like, that's wonderful. I have to take a little bit of pause while we look at our next proposal from Roberto. And if you can bring that up, and we'll start our silent reading for a minute or so. And now I will do the same. I would love to hang out and talk more about Isuzu, but we've got I really would love to get Sonia's final proposal in. Okay. 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 And while we finish up reading, Roberto, do you have a link that you'd like to share?
Yeah, a couple of links. Let me just grab these, put in the chat. So first is a link tree. You can find our white paper and the rest of our proposals in there. The other is our website. It's a work in progress still. We're kind of building it as we go. And the other one is the Gimbal Labs Plutus PBL, and I'll talk about that in a bit, why it's there.
Okay. All right. With that, everybody can finish up reading, and then we'll get Roberto ready, and we'll give him a full 5 minutes. Are you ready?
Yeah, thank you.
Let's do it. Okay.
So my name is Roberto. I am part of the team that's developing Andamio. Andamio is an open source tool, open source platform that sort of merges a PBL-based learning management system, that has contributor skills tracking, contributor skills acquisition, and contribution tracking, a treasury management system, and a governance system. And we are thinking of, so we've built this over the past 6 months. It's already sort of in a alpha beta version. And we want to make this available. So pretty much the proposal is to make this available to DAOs within the Cardano ecosystem. And we see this tool as helpful because, well, first of all, this is a project that's sort of an offshoot of, it's a product of Gimbal Labs. For those that don't know, Gimbal Labs is a Fund 1 proposal that has been working for years on onboarding developers and all sorts of roles into the Cardano ecosystem. And that is a Plutus PBL link that you can see there. That'll give you a little bit of a taste of what the Andamio proposal or platform aims to be, or is going to be a little bit more than that. So the idea is DAOs in themselves are a very innovative type of organization, right? It's never been tried before because we didn't have the technology to do it. And because it's so innovative, it comes with its own set of challenges. Anyone that's been in a DAO might might have been dealing with these problems. Basically, coordination, decision making, and onboarding. So with the work that Gimbal Labs has done over the past years, we've kind of come across these pains that the ecosystem has, right? Developer onboarding being the specialty, but it kind of really across the board within Web3 and outside of Web3 in Web2 in the real world, it's a problem, right? Onboarding is a problem. And if you go to the bottom of the proposal, you see a bit of a benchmark of how much it costs to hire people. This is in the US, but globally, an insane amount of money is spent on developing training resources and hiring. And if you look at any recruitment process of a company, and if it's just a standard corporation, you'll see that it's an endless process of recruitment, filtering, creating a job description, selection, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What we've found with Gimbal Labs, the work that Gimbal Labs has done, is we've implemented a different process that kind of flips it around and puts the opportunity for our organizations to provide training first, putting problems in front of people, and then kind of seeing who engages with that content, who is most interested in solving those problems. And from then on, you can kind of reduce it to a pool of people that you can then channel into contribution stages. So the Plutus PBL itself already has this sort of flow that starts with onboarding, then building background knowledge, then you go to specialization, and then you go to contribution. And what this allows is just, it's not a super ridiculous learning curve that you normally experience when you start learning functional programming and Haskell to get into Plutus development, but you start with different problems that start to expose you to all the different technologies that the Cardano ecosystem has, because you don't necessarily have to be a developer to be part of the Cardano ecosystem. There's a lot of different roles. So the reality, the fact that, so the opportunity comes from creating this not only on-ramp, but a bunch of different off-ramps. And that comes at the contribution stage after you go to the specialization. So what we do is we teach you the basics, the very basics to participate in the ecosystem, start solving problems. Then you go to building background knowledge and you start learning about different tools to solve problems. Then you go to specialization and you see these different paths that you can take. And depending on the interest that you might have, you might take one of those. And then when you reach that stage, you can get to contribute to real world projects. And this solves many problems. First of all, getting real world experience, right? Anyone's been trying to maybe transition to a developer career or any sort of career, you'll know that experience is a very valuable asset nowadays, because no one wants to train people. Everyone expects you to just hit the ground running, know what to do, and kind of do it already. So this kind of puts a real barrier to entry to many positions that we kind of want to get around, right? So the idea with Andamio is, with blockchain technology, you can track skill acquisition and contribution. And with the Plutus PBL, you can see that happening, because as students progress through the course, their progress that they make gets recorded on a token. And at the end of the course, you can see what they've done and how much progress they've made. Basically, it's a proof of work. It's a proof of, we call it emergent reputation. And you can see kind of how this can translate to DAOs, in the way that right now, a lot of DAOs are tracking in different ways what their contributors are doing, right? It's a decentralized organization, meaning anyone can kind of participate, anyone should be able to contribute to the project. But how do you record and how do you recognize that value, those contributions? The way that blockchain allows us to do that is to create an immutable record, a transparent, audible record of everything that is being done, right? And this is what we try to do in the Plutus PBL. Just to give an example of how we can use these tools that exist nowadays in blockchain to create these records that people can then use to access opportunities. So the same can be said about DAOs, right? The problem with DAOs is, what scheme do you use? What type of organization are you? If you're horizontal organization, you don't have the traditional hierarchy that makes it really easy to make decisions, because at the end of the day, you just look up, right? And your manager is telling you what to do. In DAOs, it's really different. People need to coordinate. So the idea with Andamio is to provide those tools to DAOs so they can onboard users through giving them the values, giving them problems that the DAO is facing, and allowing people that are interested in working on those problems that align with those values to prove or sort of engage with the content to a point where you can say, yeah, come on board, contribute to the organization that we're creating, solve the problems that we're looking to solve, right? These are the ideas, these are the things that we're looking to provide value to the world, and you can sort of identify easier with a less painful process than putting your job posting on LinkedIn. Who is really engaging with you? Who is really motivated to work on what you're working on? That's sort of the idea behind Andamio.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
Little known fact, actually pretty well known fact, and I'm just vamping while everyone thinks of their questions. Harsha and I are in the current cohort of the Plutus PBL. So we're familiar with, but I've actually never heard it. Harsha, have you ever really heard it sort of described like in this way?
I was kind of familiar with what Andamio is doing, so I knew it. But I do have one question, Roberto. Would it be more like a beginner friendly kind of platform where you just like plug and play, or do you need to have like a background in development to be able to use what Andamio is providing?
Yeah, so part of the work right now is the beta version is very developer focused. It's an open source thing, which if you know development, you kind of would, it's like an NPM package. You would install it and then you run it. That's obviously not the best case for DAOs that would not necessarily have those skills. So the idea is to get this platform in front of organizations and users that might want to use it. It's pretty much a product development roadmap, right? You get it in front of DAOs, you get it in front of users, and we need to tweak these aspects that will make it a plug and play, like you said, platform. That's part of the process that we're working on right now.
Excellent.
I really see a use case in this, like so because I'm in the whole hiring space, so I really see a lot of use case with this. So you said it's gonna be open source. Can you walk me through that? Because I'm also thinking, for example, I'm much interested in how can we take that PBL token and integrate it into our system and all that. So would we need to just pay for that? If it's open source, is it free and all that? But like, I just want to know, is all of this possible? Because there are some part of the proposal that speaks to my solution that I would want to use, but not every. And I'm also, I think one of the proposals I've also put out in the DAO Love Cardano is I'm trying to see how I can help the Arabic community as well. So they create a DAO that will be helping with work. So I see this token as something that they would really need, right? So they would need to know what people are doing in the community. So currently, the essence is they're going to be right now. They're already doing it. They're training people. They are trying to help themselves in order to get better and all that. So if token can be introduced, this would be awesome. And not just token, like a whole lot of things that you've said in one way or the other has a way of resonating with the DAO community that I'm trying to create for the Arabic community. So already this is saying in essence that this solution, this tool is 100% needed. Like there is no question about that. The only question is there a way we can take certain aspects that speaks to us and leave other aspects as well?
Yeah. So it's the package includes the learning management system, a treasury, and a governance system. And what we're thinking about, we don't have the tokenomics worked out completely yet. That's sort of part of what we're working on. It's probably going to be some sort of fee system because you're going to have a treasury, you're going to distribute rewards. So maybe some sort of micro fees from every transaction that you create. But essentially what you'll be able to do is I want an LMS with the token. So we'll spin up and it's going to be your own decentralized instance. That's the other idea. It's a fractal. The idea is not centralized, not a spin-off, but it's your own instance of ESUS, for example, that works on the Andamio platform. You upload your learning materials, you set up your token, and then you start tracking the skills and contributions of your users, right? That's the point of the platform right now. It's not live yet, but if you go to the GitLab, you can see sort of how it's being built. If you kind of have some development knowledge, you kind of know what you'll need to sort of spin it up. But yeah, in essence, it's completely open source. It's free to use at first, and then we'll maybe, that's part of what we want to get an idea is, where is the least point of friction in terms of where can we get fees to make this project sustainable? Where is it less expensive for the DAO? Probably the user wouldn't want to pay. We don't want to really charge the user if he's learning skills and contributing to the project. So these kinds of questions are the ones that we're working on answering right now. But we need users, right? We need to onboard DAOs. We need people using it and telling us, listen, this works, it doesn't work. We need to refine this. We need to add these features and things like that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. One last question. How would it integrate with other DAO tools? Like, it wouldn't create a DAO, but it would be sort of a tool that a DAO that's already established through Clarity or other DAO sort of tool.
So let's say you have a DAO through Clarity DAO. Clarity DAO, what it allows you to do is set up a platform through which you can sort of vote on ideas and sort of manage. But let's say you want to start getting contributors into your project. You want to grow your project. You want to have more members. Then you would create an Andamio instance. You would say, listen, we're working on solving this problem. These are the problems. These are the tools that we're using. Yeah. Let's see who goes through this process of solving these problems until the state that you can say, okay, these people know enough or have proven that they are engaged and motivated enough to contribute to more, let's say, different types. So instead of outsourcing the hiring of a developer or a graphic designer or anything, that person would be part of your team, or at least would have access to tasks that would be rewarded instantaneously.
Yeah, I can see kind of like in Raphael's contributor or content creation, like there could be an Andamio sort of, tasks or projects or problems based around that, and then they could go through like the learning process, getting the background knowledge of all these things and then specializing. Yeah, wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
Yeah,
we definitely need to talk.
There you go. It's working. Harsha, it's working.
I just bookmarked the project. It's awesome.
Thank you, guys. That's my email. I'll also share I'm not on Twitter very much, but this is my handle. You can tweet. And yeah, I'm happy to talk, answer any questions that you might have, or collaborations. Happy to do it.
Okay. And Sonia, we have got your you are up next. I'm going to paste in this. Are you ready? Yep. There you go. Hi. So everyone, I've pasted in the IdeaScale link, and we'll once you guys are ready, once everyone is ready, we will do a minute or so of silent reading. You can look through the proposal, and then we'll get 5 minutes of presentation and 5 minutes of question and answers. Is that good? Okay, we'll start the minute now. I think that the minutes are going by quicker. We're gonna extend just a little bit. I'm not as familiar with this one, so keep reading, y'all. Okay, we're wrapping it up. I just want to get down to this milestones. Okay. Okay.
This one does have a couple of similarities with Endamio.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Andamio is more meant as a platform that others can leverage and build upon. Our solution isn't exactly built out as a platform. It's more focused on creating accessible Web3 onboarding. So the first version that we are rolling out would actually, it would not be a paid version. So, we want to try and onboard folks without introducing a barrier to entry. But yes, actually all of the proposals that we saw today, they were all focused on onboarding. So I kind of like that because I feel like we need to do a better job with onboarding folks.
I agree. What do you think? Do you want 5 minutes to give us get a little overview?
Yes, this is the first time I'm practicing a pitch for this, so be gentle with me.
Yeah, of course,
that being said, let me quickly go through this. What we're trying to propose here is a platform to create an accessible Web3 onboarding experience for people. I do want to mention the fact that as much as I love Cardano, I am a Web3 maxi. So we have relationships around different chains. And I feel like just our Web3 community in general is such a small community, right? We don't even have 100 million people globally that actually are active on a daily basis. Like last year, the number of active wallets, it was 87 million. So given the fact that we have 8 billion people to reach out to, if we all can join hands, that would be great. And this value, our principle, it reflects in everything that we do. So for example, we have been hosting IRL events at the moment in Bay Area. Again, these events are free to attend, but we curate the audience. So we make sure that, we have good people in the room. But our last event, it was sponsored by Hedera, but we had the co-founder of Say Labs as the opening fireside chat. And then we had Tony Rose from IOHK who was speaking, and we had people from Nia Foundation, from Polkadot. All of these actors come together, and it was so nice to see all of them come, it was very harmonious. That being said, what we're proposing here, we are trying to build a system where we can get pieces from different ecosystems and merge them beautifully. Now, in its most basic form, there would be curriculum, accessible curriculum, and our target audience at the moment are university students and high schoolers. And we are focusing on this niche because in the next 5 to 10 years, these are the people who are going to be building on top of the decentralized infrastructure stack that we're looking at today. More importantly, we also want to make sure that the right principles of decentralization are ingrained in their minds, so they are able to really look at it beyond the hype. And unfortunately, some of the prejudices and biases that we have with the existing population, like either you have people who are completely for blockchain or you have people who are against blockchain. But if we start educating people when they are young and talk to them about the true prowess of decentralization, we will be able to hopefully build a generation that will contribute to decentralization, into building decentralization applications with a focus on creating a more equitable, accessible world versus just launching another token, launching another NFT collection, making money from it. And we started as an NFT collection, so nothing against it, but unfortunately most of the NFTs in the past 2 years have been rug pulls than, some solid communities coming together. With that being said, the first version of a platform, it's going to be a simple LMS version. We already have the LMS up and running. At the moment, I cannot share my screen. At the moment, it is just like a regular Web3 LMS. We are able to create this is our main website, E5E. So on this, it's not, the registration page is not open because in the moment we have demo content in the backend. And what we are working towards is building content. So I've also spoken to Cardano Foundation, and we are in talks with the Cardano education arm so that we can leverage the curriculum that they are building to put it on this platform. Now, as you can imagine, because the focus at the moment is on high schoolers and undergrad and graduate students, the complexity of the curriculum would be easy in the first few courses that we roll out. And because of its nature, people who are new to blockchain or new to DLTs, new to decentralization will also be able to enroll. More importantly, we are creating this as an incentivized learn to earn ecosystem. So as people complete courses, they will be able to earn some tokens as well, and they can use those tokens to unlock more professional courses. And obviously people would ask about the sustainability plan. At the moment, we are working with different foundations and we are taking grants to build out this curriculum, but in long term, we want to keep the curriculum accessible to individuals and then create another tier of more professional, more advanced curriculum that will be targeted towards businesses who are trying to educate their workforce. And that is where we plan to make some money from. So I don't know if it's 5 minutes, but this is the long and short of it.
I wanted to give you the benefit, but you hit it just on. You have an excellent sense of internal clock.
Right, that's
but
good.
we're at the end. I think that we've covered, we haven't gotten too difficult and tired. But if you want to wrap up now, like if you have any closing things before we ask the questions, go ahead. Take your time.
No, I'm good. I think people understand the concept, so that's about it.
For sure.
I have a question. I noticed that you have like an identity solution associated with the platform. So would users get credentials if they complete the course outside of just the tokens?
Yes, so we are planning to integrate with Proofspace. We have already had the meeting with them, and Proofspace has a solution. So instead of building our own DID solution, we want to work with Atala Prism and Proofspace to issue credentials on chain.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I think that all of this DAO work contribution needs identity. Just off of the top of my head, I didn't see anything in there, but the accounting part, I guess that would all be sort of automated in the LMS, like the sort of transactional smart contracts going on underneath there. It would be sort of
transactions for what? Because the first version that we're building out is not necessarily collecting any payment from people, right? It's going to be free for folks to access. So the first version doesn't have any payment transactions related to it, but there would be token issued, which is going to be a simple function of when a person completes the course, there would be a hook, an API, a webhook called that goes and drops the token into their wallet.
I do your team, you're leading it up, and then there's also like a group. I always look at like established groups of proposers and design teams, development. It leads to the idea of feasibility. But you've been involved, you've run these events, you were saying in your talk. Tell us more about the team. Yeah.
Sure. So I actually have a team of 10 full-time employees in India, but a couple of them are developers. The others actually are part of a design team because, as I said, right, we started as a Web3 project in the Bay Area. So let me see if I can quickly find a Twitter thread that shows the most recent event that we had hosted. And this event, again, as I said, it's in the Bay Area. However, what we are trying to do is expand that and create like a campus ambassador program as well, so that people can, here, let me find this tweet. So this shows a good review of, the kind of events we have hosted. So we want to create a campus ambassador program that is then tied into this group, because I feel like along with online, first of all, we all have seen the online fatigue in the past 3 years, right? Especially with COVID. So I feel that in order to truly onboard folks, along with the online part of it, we need to have IRL experiences. So that's why we are looking at creating this campus ambassador program. This is our first time. This is the first time that we're putting in a proposal. But Tony Rose, who used to be head of product at Atala Prism, we are actually working with him. So, we are talking to each other because he has also something similar, which is they have the DAO project. So, we are talking to each other to see how we could build together, collaborate together. And Anushka, who actually works at Atala Prism, she is an advisor to the project. And Devin, who we are also talking to Yepil. So Yepil's name is not here, but we are one of the 5 shortlisted projects for this year's Cardano NFT, Cardano Summit NFT. We are still waiting to hear back from Alexander on the final results. But for that one, we are working with Yepil, and Yepil has capabilities to help us with the smart contract, yepil.io. So we don't have, by the time we got into the conversations, the deadline for updating the proposal had passed, so I don't have their names up here. But we are talking to folks already within the ecosystem. So for example, even Ada Girl, a lot of you might know her, Lucy. She is also an advisor. I wasn't able to add her name here. Even talking to like Jenny and her husband, Jose. So we have some good folks willing to guide us, but the larger goal really is to see how we could go. If you think about it, the most important challenge here, more than even building the infrastructure, because we are starting off with a Web 2 LMS sort of a thing, where the only Web3 component in the beginning is going to be the identity, the DID part of it, right? Credential issuance. And the second part is tokenomics. And both of it, like issuing token after the course is completed, as well as the DID, they are just integrations that we need to put in place. So from a technical challenge standpoint, there aren't a lot of challenges, at least for the version 1. What challenges are much bigger than that are the creation of courses that people will complete, because a lot of the times with free courses, the completion rates are just 10 to 15%. So we want to gamify it in a way that people have to complete it in a certain period of time so they can get their tokens, or else they won't get the tokens. That's the first thing. And also the most important thing why we want to create that campus ambassador network is because through these IRL meetups, they will be motivated to go and complete these courses, because without the right communication of the value proposition, people might come and enroll but never go beyond the typical completion rate, which is like 10 to 15% for even MOOCs. Sorry, that was a long answer.
No, that was great though. It was great though.
All right.
Go ahead.
Sonia,
Hey,
yeah,
Vio.
so I really love what you're doing. And let me say, what I love the most is the fact that you've started engaging with the people that will be working with you in the community. Like, that is awesome.
That's paramount.
Yeah, this is beautiful. Like the names you mentioned, the people you're already talking to, it really shows the fact that you really believe in the vision and you're really working on it. So I just think, so I had to go to your proposal to get this question I'm about to ask, because I got to figure out you've answered it, but in your presentation, you didn't pull that through. I wanted to know, how does this solution proposal help the Cardano community specifically? So yeah, because we are going to be voting basically on that mindset. We want to understand, like, how is this going to be helpful to us? So do you mind just reiterating that? And I think
I know my
it's a
proposal is
big
very
opportunity.
lengthy, and I might have actually even forgotten to actually include this. But what we are planning to do is, as I said, right, first of all, Web3 Maxi. So we are trying to create curriculum that is not just tied to one chain. So people will be able to learn about different parts of the ecosystem. That's the first thing, right? Like Web3 is bigger than Cardano, right? It is Cardano is a big part of Web3, but also we have a lot of things working together, creating this vibrant Web3 ecosystem that we are a part of. That being said, one of the other reasons why we're trying to get in touch with Cardano education from the Cardano Foundation, the education team, not Emergo, is because we are looking for people to, like the foundations to actually co-certify the courses. So when kids come in, see, here's the truth, right? Today, first of all, very few people know about blockchain. I mean, globally, we might still have 500 million, 1 billion people who know about blockchain. But I can tell you that more than 90 to 95% of these people only know about Bitcoin and Ethereum. So that's why when we start onboarding them, we want to introduce them to the different pieces that are there. And most importantly, we are looking at proof space for the identity credential issuance. So obviously, that in itself, everybody who gets certified is going to become a member of the Cardano community. And besides that, the other part is, if the course itself is, we will be creating courses also that are focused on Cardano. However, at the moment, the complexity of those courses would be not at an expert dev level. That would come later on, right? But by introducing, today we spoke about in the town hall, we were talking about Cardano's focus on impact, right? And those are things that will make sense to even the graduate students, right? So talking about those things and helping them understand how they can build decentralized applications on an ecosystem like Cardano. So the first thing, the DID, it actually brings in people from different ecosystems, and not just different ecosystems, but new folks, when they come in, they're not just coming into Bitcoin or Ethereum, they know there is Cardano. With DID, they come in here. But also, with the IRL events, etc., we want to educate people about the opportunities available to them to build on top of these systems. So for example, Ubi here, you guys are also creating a community. What we would love to do is collaborate with all of these communities. So there is a support structure in place, right? So for example, I am in the Bay Area. Doing something in Nigeria is going to be hard. But what we could do is we have Cardano ambassadors and other projects, right, that are also functioning. So when people come here, from here, we can also direct them to these other projects. So in real life, they can understand more about the ecosystem and how they can build on it. Again, a focus on undergrad and graduate students is from a perspective that these are the people who would want to come and build more applications in the next 5 to 10 years. So we are really focusing on it from that perspective. And the sooner they realize that there are many options to build upon, the sooner they will start exploring these, make their choice and start. And we are hoping that with us being a Web3 platform, we can inspire people to build cross-chain applications. So that way, from the beginning itself, they inculcate the spirit of building multi-chain, cross-chain applications. And that, as we know, will open up avenues for mass onboarding.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, Sonia. That was incredible.
I think Raphael had a question in the chat.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the moment, we are planning to use our own tokens until we get some sort of regulatory clarity. But in the future, I mean, it's easiest to start with one token issuance, but we have been talking to folks about also creating sponsored content, because that would be a revenue stream for the platform as well, and also the students. So for example, let's just say we create sponsored content, and these content pieces would be shorter, like 30 minutes with Cardano, right? And Cardano funds it and gives us, let's say, 50,000 ADA. Like right now, our ask is very small, because what we want to do is build something, show it, and then come back to Fund 11 and then ask for more, right? So at the moment, you'll see we just applied for 70 to 75,000 ADA, which is generally, the application amount for open projects. So yes, so that's what we're planning to do. Come back, have the MVP in place, come back, show it in action, and then ask for more money. Oh, yes, so our token, but we are looking at having these sponsored courses where we can leverage these other tokens and we can distribute them.
Just
how
curious,
will it
what chain is, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask, how are you going to create like a demand for the tokens so it does so people don't just receive them and sell them right away?
At the moment, we started with, and this is like just in the last 2 weeks, right? So we, hold on, sorry. So in the last 2 weeks, we actually dropped our token on Hedera because, we have been on Hedera for a few, actually I've been engaged with Cardano also for over a year, but we started on Hedera because of the extremely low gas fees when we started on it. And Cardano also has low gas fees. Hedera has even lower gas fees, and the stars aligned. So, we just started working on that. That being said, so this is like one of the ways in which we launched a token on Hedera, and we are planning to make that token also cross-chain. And this is like a marketplace that people can go and redeem the token at. So what we want to do is create utility for people to use those tokens so that they don't just go and try to dump it. The other thing that works generally is working with the DEXs to provide some decent yield forms and liquidity pools. So on Hedera, we have been able to talk to DEXs to get even APRs of up to 100%. If we are able to build that on other chains as well, I think it will definitely stop like, a liquidity dump, and people would be more interested in investing. And if you're getting 100% APR, you wouldn't want to just go and dump it. Obviously, on each chain, getting 100% is not going to be possible. But whatever, like, creating utility through the LPs, creating utility through options to redeem it. And for the education platform, like I said, these tokens will then also be used to unlock more professional curriculum. But even though it is free to access, we don't want to make it, when something is completely free, people don't value it. So what they'll be able to do is like, let's say there are 3 courses that are totally free. They'll start with that. But then after that, for the 4th course, they have to pay in the tokens. And they can earn those tokens by completing those 3 courses. So that is how we'll make it function. So they still have to work for it, but they don't have to necessarily pay the money. So that's how we'll make it accessible. And yeah, hopefully it will work.
Well said. Well said. Thank you. If there are final thoughts, I want to close up the stream. We can pause the recordings and then say our goodbyes. I like that. I like that method. It's a little less formal that way. So we'll just say goodbye to the recording. Bye bye everyone.
Ciao.
Right.
No, wait a minute. Let's see.
Hey, Nin.
Wait a minute.
Oh, I didn't see Nin.